Hi YouTube. You know on Ghostbusters when Egon Spengler says, "I collect mould, spores, and fungus." Well, I'm a little bit like that as well, because I collect concretions, conglomerates, and nodules. So it's a good job that I'm married already, because that's not the sort of thing you want to mention if you're on a date with somebody new. But anyway, if you look over here for a second, so this little chest of drawers that I made a long time ago, this is where I house all my sort of weird stones, and they are pretty unusual shapes, some of them, and I find them really interesting, but you'll have to see if you find them interesting as well. They're quite cool shapes. So what I'll do is I'll lay all these drawers out on my living room floor, and then I'll give you a tour of what's in this chest of drawers. Okay YouTube, these are all the drawers laid out, ready for me to show you what's in them. So just start with this one. So these are iron pyrite nodules from Lyme Regis. Weird little things, like little kind of blobby lumps that form these kind of concentric rings and things. I really like these. These ones I've had to coat with PVA glue to protect them, because otherwise the pyrite can rot away. I've done another video on that if you're interested in seeing that. These are bits of fossil wood. Then we've got these. I think these are called turtle stones, but they're basically like a sort of concretion with calcite kind of lines running through them. I really like these. You can get these things called septarian nodules, which I suppose these could actually be called septarian nodules as well, as another name for them. But you can get some, like in Australia and places like that, where the grooves are really deep and they look amazing. Okay, we've got some fossil sponges here. And then the next drawer, these are some fossils from Bracklesham Bay. I've done another video on fossils that I found from Bracklesham Bay, like shark's teeth and ray teeth and things like that. These are just a few of the larger shells, and a nice piece of coral here. Then these are just kind of miscellaneous larger fossils that I couldn't fit in any of my narrower drawers, so I've just put them in here. There's a few there from Bracklesham Bay again, some echinoids and things. This is a whole drawer of echinoids. So these are chalk fossils, just found on chalk fields. Just walk across the surface of the field and find them in amongst lots of chalk stones. A few more in cases here. Getting a bit of a glare, so you can't see those particularly well, but this is quite nice, where you see like a section of the echinoid, that sort of pentagon shape, but it's got a lot of detail if you look at it under the microscope. Then we've got, so this is a sort of weird conglomerate stone here. Got some flint tubes, a few more echinoid bits in here. I think this is a fossil bone here. You can see the fine structure of the bone. That was from Lyme Regis, so that could potentially be a dinosaur toe bone. And we've got various other kind of ironstone, kind of shiny rocks here, where they look almost kind of waxy, like they've been polished. These are some fossil graptolites that my uncle gave me. They're from Bristol. Then we've got, these are ironstone formations. So quite often you get this where they form these kind of weird like ridges and things. If you're lucky, they form tubes as well. I'll show you another drawer with some tubes in a minute. But usually you just get these kind of like folded, kind of ridged effects. Really interesting. You can find these just in sort of sandy banks sticking out. I'm not going to give away a lot of my locations, because I don't want anybody to go there and find them instead of me. These are some limonite nodules. So limonite is a mineral which is it forms after iron pyrite. So if you look at some of these quite closely, they've got these kind of little sort of interlocking cubes, that kind of thing. And yeah, they have quite a lot of detail if you look at them really closely. And those kinds of shapes are the shapes that iron pyrite crystals make. So iron pyrite quite often forms in these kind of clumps like these, where they radiate outwards. So if you look here, here's some that have broken up. So you can see they're kind of fibrous in the middle, and yeah, they sort of grow outwards from a middle point, and then you get all the crystal shapes on the outside. But the iron pyrite, which is, you know, fool's gold, is obviously shiny and gold in colour, and that over time turns to, or gets replaced by this other mineral called limonite. And that's what's happened here, which is this typical kind of brown colour. And these were found again on a chalk location. So quite often they'll be like this, all covered in white chalk, and then you can wash them and use a toothbrush to rinse off all the white chalk and be left with the shapes. You can see this little one here. It's got some really nice little shapes. That might even be I think there's another mineral called marcasite, which has very similar kind of crystal shapes. So that might be marcasite that's been replaced by limonite potentially. Okay, this one. Oh, incidentally with this as well, you get the ones that form like little balls, and then you get the ones that form long kind of tube-like structures. Okay, so this one is tubes that have been formed from ironstone. So if you have a look at these, they're quite hollow. So sometimes when you find these, they're all full of sand, and you have to rinse the sand out. Again, just quite often just using a toothbrush or just running it under the tap. And sometimes you find these hollow tubes like this. Like this, and yeah, often the middle is filled with sand or something. You just scoop it all out, and then in the same location that I'm finding those, you can find these, which are the same sort of thing. They're just balls instead. So ironstone ball, and again they're quite often filled with sand. You just scoop it all out, and then they're hollow in the middle. So these are really quite nice. I like these. There is an example in the Natural History Museum of something called a box stone, which is found around Surrey as well, and that is like a bigger version of this, a lot more round in shape, but it's got like a line down the middle, so it's like sectioned off like two halves. That's quite interesting. I mean, it's a bit like actually this one, where you've got a tube with two hollow bits, and you see there's a thin ridge in the middle separating the two halves. It's a bit like that, but a sort of a nodule. So I'm looking out for one of those called a box stone. Okay, these I find a lot of around Surrey. These are sandstone balls. So they are just literally, I think, sand that has clumped together and turned into a ball over time. I guess just with pressure, but a lot of them are really quite round, and they just look like marbles. And you can see I've collected all different sizes. Tried to put some in different tubs here and just sort them into different sizes, mainly because I don't get out much. You can see, like, quite often you find them as a half ball, and see some of them, sometimes they're completely solid. Some of them, when they look like this, where they're a different colour in the middle, this is often quite sort of sandy and loose, and you can pick this out, and then they look more like those ones. Okay, so that's those. And then this last drawer, we've got a few fossils again from various locations. mainly kind of bivalves and that sort of thing. And then devil's toenail fossils there. And then we've got flint pseudo fossils here. So pseudo fossils just means fake fossils basically. So lots of people find these and you see the lines that are on them. These are just lines that form in flint, but sometimes they're quite deeply ridged, like this one. People find them and they think they're fossils. They get all excited sometimes, but they're not. They're just flint with interesting kind of bands in them. I've collected quite a few of these over the years. Here's some more. This one. You could easily be forgiven for thinking any of these are a fossil, you know, like a trilobite or, you know, part of an ammonite or something. But again, they're not, they're just flint. These are fossil sponges found in sort of flint nodules. So I found quite a few of these over the years. Here's some little ones. They're quite cool shapes, like little balls with flint around them. Here's some more. There are probably various species here. I haven't looked into it too much, but you can just tell that this one I think is a fossil coral, like a sort of horn coral or something like that maybe. This one as well. Okay, so anywhere where you find chalk means that it's been a seabed at some point. So quite often you find things like this and you know they're fossils, and you know they're going to be fossils of creatures that lived under the sea. I think this one might be another sort of horn coral. Some more fossil sponges and some more fossil sponges. Okay, so yeah, this is my my unusual collection of mainly weird nodules and concretions and conglomerates and things. Like I say, I don't get out much. Luckily, I collect enough other things. I think if I just literally just specialised in strange nodules and things, people would worry about me a bit more than they do. They probably worry enough anyway, but because I collect enough other things, I think I can get away with it. This is just something nice to look for when I'm out and about looking for other things. You look down and you never know what you're going to find, so I'm always looking out for things. Anyway, if you like this kind of stuff, please hit subscribe to see any of my other videos and anything that I post in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.